Alright, hey everyone, this is Ash. Welcome back to the King's Speech. Excuse me. So finally playing catch up with some videos this weekend. I've been meaning to get around to these a little bit earlier, but unfortunately it has been super warm here, so it hasn't really been the conducive environment to sitting down and streaming. I could have tried to do it during the day with the fan on, but I didn't want to have the noise and everything be too distracting. So basically been waiting until the evenings to try and get these videos done and recorded. Just when it's a little bit cooler, just so it makes it a little bit easier. The plan is for tonight to get caught up with the latest chapter of Kaiju as well as last week's Akane Banashi, as well as a little bit of Monstress, which I can't believe it's been 2 years since I've actually recorded the last video for this one. But I did a reread recently, so I'm really excited to dive back into the series again, especially because the reread I think definitely clarified a lot of the issues I had when I did the last reread with things with regards to pacing and some story plot points and beats that I thought had been hastily introduced. But yeah, reread clarified a lot of things, so I'm good with that stuff now. Really excited to dive back into the series again. So like I mentioned, I'm recording this on Saturday night, but I'll probably upload it to the channel Sunday morning because I want to try to get the maximum engagement on these videos that I can. So look forward to these dropping then, along with Sunday's video. So we'll have more Akane Banashi, latest Spy Family chapter, potentially one more Monstress video. It really depends on what my energy levels are like, what the weather is like, because it's supposed to be super warm. So we'll see how that goes. A lot of great content coming your way, so if you haven't already, please do consider commenting, subscribing, all that good stuff. Like I said, it really does help me out a lot with regards to the channel, and keeps encouraging me, keep posting and making content like this. So if you enjoyed my content, if you'd like to let me know, if you'd like to support me and help me out, doing all the aforementioned would be a really great way to do that. So really appreciate it if you would. I was going to say, yeah, next week I'll probably do a proper channel updates. Next week I'll hopefully be caught up with Battle Angel Alita, so we'll hopefully have read-throughs for that resume sometime then. Like I said, look forward to an announcement closer to the date. But without further ado, let us dive back into Monstress. I believe we're doing volume 6, but so I have the physical copy of volume, or book 2 I should say, on my bookshelf. For purposes of this video, I'm going to use the digital version I have. I borrowed from the library because it's a little bit easier to use that for streaming to read from. But I believe this, even though it's book 2, this is going to be volume 6 that we're going through. So it looks like we're going through some side story stuff first. So let's get into it with Monstress Talk Stories Part 1. So we pick up with Ravenna present day. You have the Federation army sending out raiding parties to surrounding towns. They don't care how many they kill. The Kamea don't need living bodies to harvest Lilium. And you have Corvin going, and still the courts don't send support, even with the warlord here. And you have leader of the Grey Riders, whose name I cannot remember because again they did not get enough screen time. But she goes, bah, the warlord is more obsessed with her wife's betrayal than trying to strategize an offensive. And Micah's like, her wife, being the Baroness. Oh man, I'm sorry. Just when this shit hits the fan with this, when she finds out who the Baroness is, I'm really just that image of Marie Kondo go like, I love mess. I cannot wait for that to show up. She's like, I've heard so much about this woman, I feel as if I know her. And Corvin's like, some wine lady half wolf? She goes, no, I used to drink too much. That's one old problem I definitely don't need. And as she's walking out, he goes, you should avoid the eastern quarter. The warlord is surveying fire damage. Don't lose your, she's like, don't lose your feathers, Corvin. She wouldn't even recognize me. And you see how she's walking through the streets of Ravenna. She heads into one of the kitchens. And you have the chefs going, we didn't make enough last night to feed the stragglers. I don't want that happening again. No belly will be full, but there'll be a bite for everyone. And one of them goes, what are we supposed to do with that strange fox child? And the other goes, Lord Corvin said to keep out of her way. Spoiled if you ask me. All these mouths to feed, she could be wasting food over there. Oh, God. And you see Kippa going, Miss! As Micah goes in the back room, and you see Kippa's just peeling some daikon. And she's like, you should be resting. Soon enough, there won't be much time for sleep. She's like, oh, God, poor baby. Like, you see her tail still, like, been badly burned since she got caught in the accident last time. Oh, man, it's heartbreaking. It's like, I like being useful. It makes me feel better. Takes my mind off everything else. And Micah sits down next to her and is like, what are you making? And she's like, oh, I used to hang around the kitchens at the refugee camp. All the little ones did because we were hungry. God, man, this is just going to gut punch me in this first chapter back. It's like I watch the cooks, and then I'd make believe with pretend ingredients. But one time, I helped make something for real. It's like even after all these years, the best thing I ever ate was at the camp when my family was alive. She just like offers Micah a daikon as well. It's like, what's the best thing you ever ate, miss? And you see Micah just kind of smiling at her. And he's like, oh. And then she goes back to like just sadly now just like chopping up the daikon as Micah helps peel the other one. It's like, well, I'll tell you mine. And you see her in a little flashback. She's got like a sack filled with like all these little metal scraps, and you have this other little dark fox child chasing after her. And he said, come on, Perry, Mama's gonna love what we scavenged. It's like, you think so? Oh, God, and just like grabbing her hand, running with her. It's like, of course, she's gonna make so many wonderful things, and then we can trade them for food. So maybe an extra blanket? My tail is cold at night. And you see their mother inside a tent, taking off these goggles as she's helping this woman out. And it's like, you're a miracle worker. You really are. I didn't think anyone could fix that old radio. And the mother's like, well, we'll see if it lasts the night. Kippa's like, Mama! It's like, look! And she just plucks down a little bag of stuff on the table. God, man. And you see, as she's looking all excited, like the mother just like goes in for a hug and kisses Kippa. And you see like Perry behind her just like looking all sad, like wanting as well. Oh man, poor kid. You see the mother just like turns away from her, and this kid's just got like this sad, like shocked look on her face. And the mother's going through the scrapping like, Goddess, how did you manage to find? It's like, Perry scavenged all of this for you. Isn't that amazing? And Perry's like, but it was both of. God, man. You see the mother just tossing it off to the side, being like, it's junk. I can't do anything with it. He's like, you haven't even looked. And you see the mother just like turning and walking away. Oh, poor baby. And just, Monstress really just wants to get me in the feels. As soon as from this video, just wants to make me cry. And you see poor Perry sitting outside like this little fox doll, like legs cradled to her chest, going, she'll always hate me. And Kippa's like, she doesn't hate you. It's like, don't lie. You know she does. I'm not hers. She didn't even know about me until a couple of months ago. Just like I didn't know about any of you. Oh, God. Poor Kippa just like gives her a hug and like, we're sisters. That's all that matters. And you see later that night, you see this raggedy looking fox guy with like these bandaged stump legs. He's going, is there something you want to tell me? The girls came home upset. Kippa explained what happened. And the mother's like, Kippa should be more loyal to her mother. And the father goes, you should be kinder to Perry. She's only a child and her mother is dead. Be angry with me. Fight me. This is our battle. Don't take it out on someone who wasn't even born when I hurt you. So he cheated on her, and then that's his other child. She's like, you drunk, legless fool. How did you manage to have another child with another woman? And he goes, she didn't mind the stumps. Oh, man, you see the next room, like Kippa's saving next to Perry. Perry just like crying, and she's hearing this fight. And Kippa's like, don't worry, we're going to fix it. And you see them out the next day in the camp as you have soldiers going, we've run out of hard shelter, so you'll have to make do with a tent until we have the funds to purchase more board for walls. And you have fuck shelter. We heard there's food here. My family hasn't eaten in days. If you have meals are dispensed at staggered times throughout the day, you'll be given a schedule. And you see them heading up to like this gated off fence where they're watching like these cooks just prepare a meal. And you have Perry going, Kippa, if we get caught, the guards will cut off our tails. Like they say that to act big, but only witches cut off tails. we'll just get yelled at or maybe kicked. And you see one of the guards sitting outside just like casually reading a book. You have Kippa, if you've come with another excuse from your father. It's like, no, Miss Rivasleek, Papa finished mending your brassiere. He even found a replacement wire. And then she's like, huh, well then, I get paid next week. I'll bring him his due then. He's like, in the meantime, I don't suppose you could do me and my sister a favor. She just hands her a sack of something. And she just takes it from her and goes, and opens the gate and goes, don't tell anyone I'll let you in. And if the cooks catch you, it's like, we snuck in. And Perry's like, wow, look at all this food. Sorry, my dog is being a dingus. And she's like, oh, God, they see him running inside going, hurry, find any vegetable scraps that look fresh. And you see Kippa sees some cage with some chicken eggs. And she goes and just like stealthily sneaks towards, like just apologizing, sorry to the chickens as she's stealing it. And then she finds like this little cracked jar nearby and she picks it up. And you see the cooks coming outside this pot and going, we can divide up this leftover rice at the end of the shift. It'll be a good meal for us tonight. Oh, poor baby. And you see her just like digging through the trash to scavenge what rice she can from what they threw out. It's like, I hate hiding daikon and her knives are all dull. It's like, Lila, where's the whetstone? And you see a plate with, I think, like sausage and some stuff sitting up on there. Like Kippa just like sneaks up on it. The next page you see them just running back to their shelter. And they're all just like happy smiling at the little food theft they committed. It's like, I haven't had meat since the Moon Festival. It was mostly just meat flavor. And Kippa's like, this is gonna work, Perry, I promise. And they just walk back in past the father who's sleeping off his hangover. And you see them just getting out all the things that they pilfered. They got some eggs, they got some rice, they got some vegetable scraps. Like a little bit like a head of a daikon. And Kippa's like, we'll save some of this for another meal. And Perry's like, what do I do? So if the cooks always peel the daikon before they use it, start there. Just cut really close to the surface so you waste as little as possible. It's like chop it into chunks and you see her just like a little knife just chopping up the daikon. It's like, daikon is thick, Kippa. The knife doesn't want to go through. It's like, lean in. It's like, shh, don't drop it. We need to boil this water. So he gives her like a giant pot filled with water. And you see them setting it up on the stove and starting it to boil. It's like, what else goes in? And Kippa's like, egg whites. It's like, not the yolk? It's like, we saved that for another dish. And you see her just like cutting away at the vegetables. And Perry's like, I think that's the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. It's like, it smells good already, doesn't it? I'm not imagining that. It's like, I love cooking. It's almost as much fun as eating. It's like, what's next? God. You see just do like little fist bumps, like fried rice. It's like, it's like meat looks good. Skip was just cutting up like a little sausage that they pilfered. That was where I was looking for, pilfered. It's like, we don't have any oil, but the sausage looks fatty. And she just drops into a frying pan. It's like, it smells like so much fat. It's like, I've never heard sausage crackle in Perry's like, it's jumping. They see the meat sizzling. It's like, now we add that egg yolk and the rice. So this is how I've seen the cooks fry rice. They really put a lot of force into it. And you see her just like whipping up the skillet. It's like, oh, Kippa, it smells delicious. And the mother comes in all angry. She's like, Goddess, what are you doing? Where in the world did you find? It's like, oh no, no. It's like, the others will smell this if they haven't already. I could smell it, damn it. There'll be so much trouble as to find out we have special food in the house. We could be kicked out of the camp. Quick, eat up. And Kippa's like, no, this was for you. It was supposed to be a good surprise. Oh, God, man. And you see how she's furious looking down at Perry. She's like, so you would love me. And she's like, you little fools. It's like, Kippa, the trap door. She just grabs the pot with a towel. And Kippa just like moves this little box and then this carpet underneath it. She rolls it up and they have this little alcove under the floor. And she drops the pot into there. Along with the rice. And then they put it back over and Kippa and Perry sit on top and pretend they're playing. And you see some of the other refugees opening up the curtain door and going, was someone cooking meat in here? And the mother's like, I wish. I smell the same thing. You know how it is though. Sends Carrie from the camp kitchen. And you see them just like closing the door as they leave. They all just like let out a sigh of relief. And then, God, poor Perry's crying. Like Kippa's just protecting her like a big sister. It's like, don't you dare be angry at us. And the mother's like, no, this is my fault. I'm sorry. And she's like, you can't buy love, little ones. You could bend yourself backward into a knot, do somersaults to the moon, but for some people that would never be enough reason to love you. And you see Perry going, I need you to love me. And see the mother like taking her into her lap and like trying to comfort her. He's like, no, you don't. Kippa loves you. Your father loves you. If you love yourself, that will be enough. And she gathers Kippa into her with her other arms, like, do you love yourself, Mama? And you see her just taking Perry's hand, like putting over her heart like this. And Kippa's like, Mama? And you see that she just like can't think of how to respond. It's like, when your father wakes up and the camp has gone to bed, we'll eat. She just starts like crying and she like hugs him in closer. God, man. And you see later that night the father, as they're sharing the meal, going, you sly little foxes. That is the most ridiculous story I've ever heard and the most delicious meal I've ever had. And the mother's like, it's very good. And you see them just exchanging kind of a sad, tense look as the little kids are just like happily eating this little meal that they have. Oh, and you see Nikita now just like back of the present, just looking, all sad about like the memories. And Micah's like, you've never told me about her before, your sister. And you see Kippa's trying like not to cry. She like turns her face away. She's like, I think I've cut enough to feed a lot of people. Will you help me make daikon soup? And she's trying to grab the pot and turn away from Micah. And Micah just grabs it away from her. She's like, Krip is just starting to tear up. You see as they're walking out with the pot, like you see Micah just comforting her. She's crying. Oh man, that just broke my damn heart in two. Oh, alright, now we have Talk Stories Part 2. You have back in their room as Kip was just kind of crying under the blankets. You have Micah just handing her, it seemed like a towel or something, and she gives like a little hot drink as well. She's like, I broke my word, miss. All those children died because of me. All the people the witches killed, that's my fault too. I should die. She's like, I suppose, if you're a coward. That gets her to like pop her little head out of the blankets. And Micah's like, you can't run from those mistakes. You have to live with them and figure out how to make them right. She's like, but I don't think I can live with the pain, miss. I can't. And she's like, I wish the witches had killed me back in Zamora. And Micah's like, you, who keeps forgiving me again and again for being a monster. You, who always forgives my cruelty and anger. You can't forgive yourself? She's like, that's different, miss. She's like, why? It's like, It's like, come on, I need your help with something. She rips the blanket off her. I was like, eep! And you see, God, you see, so Micah had like bandages wrapped around her head because she has those still burn scars. Like half her face is burned, like the hair has been burnt off from where the tank blew up last time. So he's taking it off, and Kippo's like, miss, I've never cut anyone's hair. And Micah's like, just clean it up. And she's like, so remember the other day I told you a story about my sister? I was just wondering if you had any stories like that. Because Master Sazy told me that he'd seen you happy. And you see Kippo with a little scissor just like cutting her hair. And Micah's silent for a second before she goes, my mother always said that happy memories are a double-edged sword. You'll cut yourself if you lean on them too much. Sazy disagreed. He thought the more happiness I had in my life, the stronger I would be, that it would protect me. And I assume this is her mother when she's significantly younger. It's like you see her just like cuddling in bed with Sazy. You see baby Micah just like peeking in on this scene. And then she goes back outside. She waves to the little fish kid that we've seen in the flashbacks. We've seen her like with a little picture. She waves to him and goes, Eureka, no one followed you, did they? And he's like, no one cares enough to follow me. I'm not the throne heir, remember? I don't even have fins. He's like, do you think this will work? And you see them with like a little notebook and like a little compass. It's like, I heard Sazy saying no one goes to that island because it's too dangerous. No one will expect that we've run away there. It's like, I hope not. I don't want to be sent to the Federation, Micah. A military school? It's horrible. And you see Kenzie out on the docks, like issuing orders to the crew as Micah and Eric are just like sneaking behind him. It's like, you're sure about the boat? It's like, Sazy had it made for me. I'm not supposed to know about it yet, though. And you see this magnificent looking like mini sailboat. It's like, it's beautiful and so small. It's like, it's perfect. Micah's like, Stacey hired builders to make vessels for cats, so everything should be the right size for us. And Eureka's like, Micah, everyone in the city is either terrified of the Amuras or deathly loyal to them. So, but they're not that scary, are they? She's like, I guess that depends. Just don't be an enemy and you might survive. And he's like, okay. He's like, the sail. As you see them setting out on this little boat. It's like, it's too heavy, as you see him like trying to tug the rope to push the sail. Micah's like, I'm coming. It's like, I wish I was as strong as you. Maybe then the others would overlook my legs. And Micah's like, it's not your fault you were born that way. It's like, both my mothers are sirens. If one of them was human, it would be alright. But I'm a freak. I can't even swim well. And as he has Micah's like tying down the sail rope. She's like, the poets say that humans came from the sea. Maybe you're proof of that. It's like, one of my ancestors probably had human blood and never told anyone. And Micah's like, I'm part human too. And you can do things they can't. You can go places they can't. That's why they want to send you away, because you're the only one of them who can study at that school. And you see, as they're sailing their ship through the sea, you see them like seeing this fish nearby, and Micah fishes it up, and you see him just like preparing it for a meal. It's like, sharp knife, fresh fish, good life. And you see Rekka going later, it's like, there's a storm coming. We need to lower the sail and tie everything down. And you see as like the sea is just like roiling and like waves are being tossed up. You see like lightning striking overhead. You have, Mike, are we okay? It's like, we're great. Oh, I just see like this multi-eyed squid octopus like getting in front of us. I think it's a squid like just roiling up in front of them. And like just like lightning shooting off of it. It's like, lightning squid. I didn't think they were real. It's because no one survives the experience. And you have a flop as one of the tentacles hits the boat and overturns it. You have an IE. Oh, so okay, yeah. So I assume that they tied rope around their waist and then tied it to the mast. So if they did get tossed overboard, if they fell or like the wave pushed them overboard, I assume then they could climb back onto the board, like pull themselves back onto the boat. But because the boat's caught and overturned and capsized, I see Micah like trying to struggle with a knife to cut herself free. So you see Eureka swimming up and like blowing some air into her mouth so she can breathe. And then she finally managed to cut it free as they surface. And you see on the next day as they're just like floating on a piece of driftwood, like all exhausted. Yeah, we're okay. As you see like two sharks just circling them. I hope this is not going to have a tragic ending. And you see the next one, like sharks just start swimming away. As two hands just reach down and pull them up into this boat. You have, as if these two thought they could hide from the eyes of the sea. Silly things. So they're lucky to be alive, Commander. We should have fetched them before the storm hit. Stacey would have been mighty sour if the half-wolf child had drowned. And someone says, good. Oh, yes. Yes, and this is who I think it is. Oh. I'm going to be honest. We'll have to wait for confirmation to see if... Oh, I think it is. It is. I'll be honest, if I hadn't just reread the series recently, I don't think I would have made the connection this quickly. But because I did, I think we're finally meeting Seizi's mother, Saori Imura. So I'm excited because she looks like a badass. She's got like all these scars all over her arms, like one across her eye. And you see that Old Tooth is the one that pulled Eureka out, and Mike was pulled out by Saori. She goes, my son has always been too soft, Old Tooth. One must give the Wave Empress a chance to eat, even if what she eats is our hearts. And Old Tooth is like, in my opinion, she gets plenty enough to eat as it is. You see on the next one, you see under this canopy awning on like this bed, you see Eureka and Micah just laid out snoozing. And like Micah wakes up, like rubs her eyes, grabs a nearby juice and just sips it. And you see, the flotsam awakens. As you see Saori coming back with a trident in one hand and octopus in the other. And God, nobody just pulls out her sword. It's like, who are you? And where are we? It's like, calm down, whelp. It's like, no, I won't. Answer me. She's like, really? You dare? It's like, I'd forgotten what no even sounds like, and just throws the octopus at Micah. He's like, ah! As it catches onto her face, and she's just like whipping her up wildly with the little knife she's got. He's like, ah, you don't give up, is that it? Or are you just stupid? You know, and she just lashes out with a kick and drops her down. He's like, rah! And you see Micah just like ripping the squid off her face. And she's like, no! And she just whips the knife at her. And Sarah just catches it with like effortlessly. He's like, it's something deeper. It's like, I suppose I might understand why my son dotes on you, soft heart that he is. You do have potential, despite being a wolf. She's like, son? Are you Saisie and Kenzie's mother? It's like, indeed, I did give birth to those miscreants. Now come with me. Might as well rouse your friend too. And you see, Micah, that's Saori Yamura 100 years ago. Nice. Nice. It's like 100 years ago, she was the first of the Blood Queens to rule Theria as consort of the Siren Queen. But then, and she finishes with, then I decided I'd much rather be a savage conqueror than a bored queen. Now stop with the lips. And Micah's like, we can't stay here. We were on our way. It's like, to the island you noted in my son's map book. It's like, Pa, you have arrived, wolf child. And you see her, she goes and just puts Trident back on a little weapons rack. Micah's like, you're making that up. Saisie said it's a dangerous place. And she's like, am I not dangerous? It's like, how would I know? All you did was fight against a child. Oh, God, that's good. He's like, Micah, hush. And she's like, oh, you are a spitty one. I like that. And you have Old Tooth coming in going, Commander, Seabird arrived. Saisie and Lady Halfwolf will be arriving by sundown tomorrow. Like, send a reply. Tell my son that I sent the children to my sister in Ajabara. He's like, Commander, that's a week's sail from here. It's like, yes, and another week's journey back. He needs to see his aunt anyway. And you see her just help taking the children out onto like the little deck outside. And goes, children, welcome to the outermost ring of the Spice Islands. A month of hard sailing would barely allow you to see the vast holdings that I, my sisters, and my daughters control. And for the next 2 weeks, you have the run of it. You see the two kids just looking all excited. And you see Little Fox, I wish I could say the last carefree weeks of my early life were spent with my mother. And you see Micah and Arika just playing in the sea with some sirens. And you see Saori just like fishing up some mussels and for them. So, but it was that pirate queen who allowed me to be a child. Briefly. I haven't thought about her in years. Not even when you and I were in Theria. I forgot it all. I put it away. And you see them just like sucking up some clams after their swim. And you see them going in for another swim with her and the other sirens. It's like, do you wish you were there now, miss? It's like, miss? And you see them going on a little trek through the jungle as they come upon like this little Aztec-looking temple. You have the ancients who allied themselves, the Wave Empress and her daughters, built a kingdom away from their own kind. My mother is one of those ancients, the Tiger Queen. She built this temple to help her remember. It's like, remember what? It's like the home she left behind, she said. But she would never tell me or my sisters where that was. She said I wouldn't understand. And you see Eureka just like parting some vines on his seas, like a little drawing of, I assume the Shaman Empress. She's got like the same eye tattoo on the chest. And Saori's like, I'm told that even the Shaman Empress came here to study this place. And as baby Micah just like climbing up the steps, like, don't tell my mother that. She's obsessed with her. And Eureka just like does a double take as he hears that. He just puts the lines back in place to cover up the drawing. And you see as they climbed up to one of the stones and just like having a little rest and a snack. He's like, I don't want to leave this place ever. It's like, so you're both being sent to the Federation to learn human war tactics? Quaint. Your mother should have sent you to me. And Micah's like, you're a great warrior? He's like, ha, I'm a simple tiger who only knows 2 things. How to survive and how to thrive. It's like, my mother thinks I have to be the best fighter, the best at warcraft, or I'll die. And Saori's like, she should have just sent you sailing. There is no more savage teacher than the sea, child. Remember that when the danger comes. Fight like the sea. The sea is relentless. It never stops. It has no pity. It devours. It's like, well, what if I don't want to devour anyone? What if I hate fighting and killing? And you see, I remember Saori just like clasping her cheek fondly. She goes, I'm a queen of the sea not because I'm fearless, and not because I love violence or holding power over those weaker than me. It's like, then how? It's like, why did you run away? And Micah's like, because I didn't want to go to military school in the Federation. I'm afraid. It's like, afraid? I don't think so. If you were really afraid, you would have stayed home and followed your mother's wishes. Instead, you sailed into the unknown. And she just puts on a little pouty face, like, but that's less scary. And she just laughs and is like, oh, child, how I sympathize. I remember my own education. She goes, go to the Federation, learn all you can, and don't forget that you tried to fight against your fate. That's important. Just don't make a habit out of running away. And she just like grabs her in for a little cuddle and is like, if we ever meet again, you may call me auntie. Oh my god. Again, just more heartbreaking. You see Micah just like getting all emotional as she's remembering all this. And Kip was like, Miss, you had such a good life with friends and people who loved you. And she's just like silent, just like, Miss? And you see like Micah just like breaking down and she starts crying, like puts her face in her hands. God damn, man. Alright, chapter 31. You have Tuya. There are days I would give anything to see you again, and there are days I hope that I never do. And you see a bunch of the Federation soldiers who have been like sucked dry by Zin, beheaded, just corpses and parts splashed, thrown everywhere. And you see Colonel Anwat kind of just examining examining the corpses. As you have, you might hate me now for what I've embraced. You might hate me for choosing to live instead of die. You have the same killers targeting our patrols and raiding parties, Colonel Anawat. He's like, killers, you mean? It's like, no, the survivors insist it's only a young, it's only a young woman and some demonic apparition. It's like, which would be fitting because I hate myself for that choice too. And yet, I can't help it, Tuya. It's like, she fits the description of the human you were interrogating. And I don't know what's like, well, we all know a human didn't do this. It's like, part of me still has hope. It's like, isn't that right, officer? It's like, yes, Colonel. And you see that Micah's now having a little dinner with her father. So you have, daughter, how good it is to see you eating. I find myself delighted that you have begun to take responsibility for your hunger. It's like, mindfulness is better, is it not? Better than fearing who you might harm should your hunger rage out of control? It's like, no, it's not better. Killing others to survive is a fucking nightmare. It's like, but daughter, now you accept it as part of your nature. And that is a start. It's like, a start to what, old man? Where does the hunger end? Does it just become something else that's even more awful? And he's like, daughter, it is not the hunger that transforms. Hunger is the fuel, but it is you. You who become something else. Whether you become aberrant or glorious, that is up to you. And she's like, my mother gave me similar advice. It was shitty then and it's shitty now. Oh, God, of course. Oh, I'm such a dumbass. Oh. Because as soon as I saw that scene where you had like all the dried up soldiers who had been like obviously eaten by Zin and like absorbed and everything, and with her father being like, oh, I'm so glad you like started eating again. I just assumed that like because her hair had all been growing back and the burn scarring was completely gone. So I just assumed that because Micah had been like feeding Zin, like she just healed super fast and she was just like back to her normal look again. But like she was in Ravenna, so like of course, why would her father have been there with her like in a completely different looking space? Like, oh, this is how you can tell my brain is just like not 100% focused. Like I just completely missed that clue, like just right over my head. But she's like, why are you in my dreams, old man? I know this is real. Somehow you wiggled your way into my head. And he's like, yes, easily. A god slipped from my blood to yours. There is no closer bond. I'm here to remind us both of that connection, of its vital importance to our futures. We need each other, daughter, though I am perhaps more comfortable with that idea than you are. It's like, so what's about to happen? What have you done now? It's like, old man? It's like, really? Fuck you. And you see just the next page is just like completely disappeared from her dreamscape. She's like, what'd you make of that? And Zin goes, he wanted you to know you are not safe in your own mind, that you are his anytime he wishes. He had no information to give except that. It's like, clearly, but that wasn't all of it. It's like, child, the first chance, kill him. Do not hesitate. He undid me, reached into me, and I am still wounded. She's like, Zin, about what I saw inside your memories, the child and the human, Miriam. She's like, no. It's like, stop, it matters, Zin. Stop, it matters, Zin. I need to know why the ancients were trying to kill the child. It's like, for the same reason they will try to kill you. For your power. For what you can undo. It's like, Zin? It's like, fuck. And he just like wakes up with a start. It's like, oh, miss? Alright. So healing apparently, the feeding apparently did heal her face. Like the burn scarring is mostly gone. But her head is still shaved on the side where the hair was burnt off. And Kip was like, I'm so glad you finally woke up. Lord Corvin sent me to find you. The Warlord's air fleet is coming. It'll be here by evening. And you see back in Pontus. Yeah, well, is it any surprise that we ran out of time? It doesn't matter whether Ravenna stands or falls. The damage is done. The Federation and the Arcanic Courts are now at war. And you see that when I was a governor, whose name I can't recall, going, but given the information you've just shared, Admiral Brito, perhaps we can hope for a quick resolution. And she's like, can we? It is a shocking request. And Stacey goes, I myself am surprised at the audacity of the Dust Court's demand. Exterminate all the Kumeya? And you have the Blood Queen going, it's brilliant. The Kumeya have the Federation under their thumbs. They're the reason this war is happening. Remove them from power and order is restored. And Brito's like, you don't simply stamp out a religion, nor do you murder thousands simply because of that religion. We may not agree with the path the Kumeya have led us down, but almost all of us have family who are part of their order. And the governor goes, the Admiral is right. This is an impossible request. And let us say you agree. Let us imagine you carry through and murder them all. The Federation will turn on itself over that choice. Humans against humans. And Stacey's like, or they would blame us. And you have, I want to say, no, Vin's not right. Vin's the goat lady. I feel like this, the seahorse looking wave court guy, I feel like his name starts with a V, but it'll have to come back to me. But he goes, if I might interrupt a moment, I have another proposition for your consideration. As you know, the Wave Court has been granted permission from the Wave Empress herself to decide whether or not to participate in the second conflict. Just prior to this meeting, I was informed that the Wave Court has made at least one decision. Our ancients will grant the Federation Navy protection from the sea, but only if it abstains from the war or allies itself with the Arcanic Courts. Should you fight for the Federation, you will suffer absolute destruction. You have Holy City of Aurum, capital of the Federation. You have a bunch of the monstrum apparitions just kind of like hovering in the sky. And you have, we're cursed! It's like, it's a lie, they can't see us, look, their eyes are watching! Oh, so it's a lie, they can't see us, look, their eyes are watching! And you have one of the Khmer trying to go, citizens, do not be afraid. Miriam is with you, these are illusions cast by the demons! And you see one of them just bashing her over the head and going, shut up, this is your fault! It's like, we can't listen to the Khmer, it's the war, we're being punished for killing Arcanics! And you see Gull and the Mother Superior watching this with Gull going, oh, really? Must our sister brothers be so obvious? And the Mother Superior goes, I suppose the prison walls are thinning if they can sense the mask. Such powers of observation you possess. And Mother Superior goes, you, finish your report. How goes our Lilium harvest? Jeff, as always, the scientists are doing the best to maximize Lilium loads, but we need more bodies. But fortunately, Kolna Anuwat's raids around Ravenna have been providing us with new stock. Like, speaking of Anuwat, we sent her our blessed little ones. How have their physical enhancements held up under the realities of battle? It's like, not well. Only two survived with injuries. The sisters Odile and Zortia. We don't know how the others died, as their handler perished in Ravenna, and the Inquisitrix's hammer and needle have gone silent. So what an expensive disappointment. Send orders for sisters Odile and Zortia to be exterminated so we can recycle the Lilium in their bodies. I don't want to waste our precious resource on anything defective. It's like, yes, Holy Mother. It's like, hammer and needle are an unacceptable loose end, Gull. They saw your true form. You should have killed them. It's like, I was rather preoccupied with being possessed and then experimented on. It's like, yes, that. You have vastly changed since we last saw each other. Where's your fight? your wit, your focus. You sound almost mortal. He's like, amused, are you? Don't be. Something is wrong. Old Dagon and Dreamer refused to see it. I was not deceived. A defiled overpowered my will through the mask and compelled me to act for it. You cannot imagine the filth that still coats me. And the Mother Superior goes, you forget my history with the defiled. I most certainly can imagine, Gull. I remember what they did to me with perfect, excruciating clarity. And I am sorry. It's like, thank you. It's like, I fear for us if the fallen houses have lost control. We can't open the prison until we know for certain. I won't allow it. He's like, you won't allow it? Don't say those words even in jest. Dreamer hears all. She just like grabs her by the throat and just like tosses her and is like, the Dreamer says the song is pure. I must as such believe it was just an unfortunate coincidence that a defiled reached through the mask. You see them having a little stare down as Gull goes, your wisdom is appreciated. You're right, I was mistaken. I won't bring it up again. And you have excellent, and they head down to the little crater left by the bomb. It was like a little bunker door. They open it and go inside and you see a bunch of Federation soldiers standing guard. And there's this cube in the middle, like surrounded with these glyphs all over it, with like this purple energy dome over it. And you see a bunch of soldiers have burned up near it. You have, welcome, O divine overseers of Miriam's will. Welcome to the inner sanctum of the Shaman Empress's lab. We are blessed and humble that you grace us with your... And Mother Superior is like, oh, be silent. Have you learned yet what is powering the shield surrounding that box? And scientists like, alas, no. And our attempts to penetrate it have been met with maximum resistance. Never fear, however. Science shall prevail, most holy of holy mothers. And Gull's like, we should ask Micah's father. I have no doubt he knows how to lower the shield. He's like, another expert? I'd be delighted to confer. It's like, be quiet, Gull. It's like, I want more guards down here. In fact, I want the entire garrison defending this room. And you see inside the city in this opulent looking place, you have build a fortress around it if you have to. Oh, God. And you see Micah's father sitting down at a table and you have, welcome to Orem, Lord Wolf. What brings you to our fair city? He goes, oh, I'm looking for a very special gift for my daughter. I love that asshole. There's so enough ambiguity there that you don't know which daughter he's talking about. And you see back in Ravenna is Corvin's checking up on his sister, who's just like heavily bandaged and burned. And he's Micah's like, her fever isn't going down? And Corvin's like, no. If we were home in the north, I'd carry Botania into the mountains and pack her in snow. And Kippa's like, or use willowwort. There should be some growing outside the city. And you see both Corvin and Micah, like angry parents, being like, absolutely not. Like, don't you fucking dare. And Corvin's like, the warlord plans on using her airships to destroy the Federation army. And Micah's like, she'll waste firepower and fuel. The humans are too hidden. She'll have to bomb the entire forest from here to the wall. Better to evacuate, lace the city with mines and tripwires, and leave behind an assassin's unit to keep picking them off. And Corvin's like, I'll suggest it, but the warlord has classical values when it comes to war. And Micah's like, you mean she believes in rules, and her pride is linked to those rules. And he's like, unfortunately, you're no longer in a position to do anything about it. With the warlord here, you do not have power in Ravenna. The kind of power you need, which is political and subtle. And Kip was like, how does someone get that power? And you see Micah going, allies, connections, exchanges of favors. And he's like, oh, you have allies. Mr. Sazy, Corvin, me, Master Ren, Miss Vin, even the leaders in Pontus for how you saved the city. And you see Corvin's like undoing Botania's wraps on the leg stuff so you can apply more medicine. It's like, she needs more than that, Kippa. It's like, well, what's wrong with just talking to the warlord, making her an ally? You've never even met, have you? You'd think she wants to hurt Miss, but maybe it's because she doesn't know her. And Micah's like, it's more complicated than that, Kippa. And she goes, huh. It's like, Kippa, I need to borrow the necklace I gave you. It's like, oh, of course, it's yours, miss. It's like, no, I'll give it back. And Corvin's like, Lady Half-Wolf, it's like, focus on your sister, Crow. And she's like, well, mother, I suppose it's time. She just like holds up the pendant. Oh, what the fuck. And the next one, she takes her finger and just pokes, like stabs into her hand. And she's like, what are you doing? It's like not running, taking a chance. My old ways aren't going to work anymore, Zin. There's too much at stake. It's like, child, I cannot deny you have shown growth, but I fear your instincts. And she just like drips the blood down onto the pendant, and it starts glowing. And she goes, to quote the poets, fear is merely the soul trying to hold on to mortal life. It's again, what is wrong with that? It's like, we're not going to survive if we don't risk our lives in. And he's like, that is the logic of idiots. She just ties the little pendant back around her neck. It's like, well, we'll see what this idiot can do, won't we? Next page, she goes, Kippa and I are leaving, Crow. You were right, this is no place for us. And Corvin's like, where will you go? It's like, Pontus, I need Sazy's network if I'm going to find the rest of this mask. And you see on the next page, oh god, you see Kippa just running in for a hug to Corvin. It's like, I'll miss you, you've been such a good friend. Please stay alive, you and your sister. Corvin's like, oh. It's like, may the goddess protect you, Kippa. He just like leans down and gives her a hug. And you see Micah going up and just doing like a little arm clasp with the leader of the Grey Riders. He's like, you're certain of this? It's like, it's time. I can't avoid it any longer. And you see her and Corvin exchanging a look. And as they're leaving, Kippa's like, thank you for not leaving me behind, miss. It's like, I'm surprised you said yes. There's still foxes here. It's like, I can't be around them right now. Not after what I did, how I broke my word. Besides, I know I can learn things from you. Micah's like, that's a terrible idea. And you hear, the Baroness will kill you for letting her go. She should have given me the poison. And you see Tano just kind of shadowing behind Corvin. And Corvin goes, Tano, tell the Baroness that the half-wolf has left Ravenna for good. I think you'll find that this is the one time she'll be pleased by your bad news. It's like, we'll know soon enough, Corvin. You should have left Ravenna with the half-wolf. And you see an airship that's just like moored in the air. And you have, you're certain? And you have, zzz, I saw it myself. Zzz, the half-wolf is gone. Zzz, zzz, should I follow? Zzz. And you see Tuia's listening into a message. And you see someone coming in and going, Baroness, the warlord has commanded your presence in Ravenna. I'm afraid I can't afford to disobey her. And she's like, stay, Tano. I might need you. And you see the warlord heading back, or heading to the airfield where one of the ships has dropped down. And Tuia, all just like dressed up in her battle armor, is like, hello, wife. And as the warlord walks up to her, she takes out her sword, swings it overhead, and then slashes it down. And then cuts off the head of the guy that came to deliver the message to you that the warlord wants to see her. And she goes, tell the other commanders that if they ever again obey my wife without direct orders from me, I'll do worse than this to them. And Tuia's like, you're so wasteful. And she's like, bomb the forest, burn the humans out. And she's like, if you think they're still there waiting to be bombarded, and she just like silences her and goes, confer with the locals and organize a scouting party. Confirm the location of the human army, and then strike. Yes, warlord. And you see the next page, it just grabs Tuia by the arm and starts like leading her. It's like, you committed treason. I should kill you. Worse, you failed. And she's like, I learned something important. It's like, and I learned I can't trust you. So you already knew that, and yet I'm not the one with my head cut in half. And you see the next page that's sharing some tea. It's like, sabotage, you're sure? It's like, of course. We only finished repairs a day ago. My own people are guarding the cannons now. It's like, then the Federation has infiltrated our ranks. And Tuia's like, that would be preferable. But the saboteurs kill themselves with poison. Turn their gums white, made their breath smell like vanilla. Only one root does that, and it grows in the mountains north of the Dust Court. I feel like that's cyanide or something else. I feel like I've heard about a poison that's like that. Which the warlord is like, no, enough with your conspiracies. The ancients would not sabotage my weapons to protect a Lilium refinery. That is insanity. So why are you so blind? It's like, because I fight real wars, not pretend wars. And you've almost cost me this war when we've barely begun. One could almost imagine you're the one working for the humans. It's like, you are so treacherous. You wear so many masks, tell so many lies and half-truths. Do you even know who you are or what you really want? It's not me, I know that. Tuia just silences her by going in for a kiss. And you see in the next one, as they're lying in bed, going down on each other. You have, hope is a strange feeling, Tuia. Hope is frightening. What is hope except the possibility of disappointment? And yet, I've learned that hope is just another kind of hunger. Hope is another kind of fuel. The hope to hope is to ask, oh God, is it happening? To hope is to ask for a possibility, just a chance at something better. Would you see Tuya gasping in surprise at something she sees? You have the smallest, most fragile hope will keep a person fighting, no matter how impossible the odds. I know this now. And you see Micah just outside the bed, just watching this deadpan expression. Did she do this to draw her out? Oh, I'll finish this one, see? It's like, and I hope to you. Oh, I hope. I hope that if I stay alive long enough, I can become someone new. That I can do some kind of good that will outweigh the bad. That one day I can be worthy of your love. Of any kind of love. Isn't that odd? And you see Toya just staring at her, surprised, with Maggie just again dead face staring at her. It's like, I never used to hope. That was your job. You had enough hope for the both of us. You had hope for me until you didn't. I might not have remembered your eyes, but I remember that. Oh shit, it's about to hit the fan. Oh God. Alright, we'll get to thoughts. I think we've got to the next chapter, so we're heading close to an hour now. So I think I'm probably going to cut this video off there because I don't want to make it as long as I did the last couple of videos because I feel like making it a little bit shorter is easier to digest. So I think we'll probably cut it off here and I'll do another shorter video to kind of wrap up the rest of the volume stuff. We'll finish this off with an excerpt from a lecture by the esteemed Professor Tam Tam, former first record keeper of the Ishami Temple and learned contemporary of Nimron Blackclaw, who goes, "It is a little known truth that cats once walked freely between worlds. Perhaps we still do, and those lucky enough to cross over simply do not speak of their adventures. Such secrecy would no doubt be wise. We no longer live in the age of Adara Farclaw, where one world walking was an experience of joy and learning instead of something to fear. It is said that Adara Farclaw kept detailed accounts of her adventures, but most of those have been lost. What has survived are fragments of her philosophies which underpin the foundation of the empire she later established. The most important of these philosophies, in her words, kindness is a power. Across every world and every realm she visited, Adara Farclaw observed how the smallest act of kindness, even against monumental cruelty, could create a ripple of unexpected consequences that in time might devastate the most fearsome of dominions. Ubasti takes great joy in unintended consequences, Adara wrote, and there is no more divine reverberation than the one that comes from gentle acts to others and to one's own self. The poets, without attribution to the Farclaw philosophies, have long said that kindness wraps tail with compassion, that compassion wraps tail with love, and that this trinity of grace is a redoubt against which no force of fear or darkness can prevail. Adara Farclaw put it another way. The gentle heart and its acts are the key to enlightenment and will open doors to worlds you've never imagined. Hold that lesson close, kids, and ask yourself this. When Adara Farclaw spoke of keys and doors, was she speaking only of philosophies, or was she teaching us how to take our own first steps upon the road between worlds? Yeah, so we get to chapter 32 after that. So get some quick thoughts on this. Those talk stories, absolutely my favorite part of this so far. As heartbreaking as it was, like I absolutely teared up a few times. But yeah, it was just, I don't know, man. Just given like how much of this series is like, the horrors of war, like the atrocities people commit, like, the atrocities that are committed against them. Having these two stories that are, just more about remembering the good times, remembering like, those moments that carry you through all the harsher ones, the times when you remember like, what you're living for. I think those are just super impactful and like a good reminder of what people are fighting for. And it's something I think, again, like as Mike is saying at the end, like, where she's experienced growth and she's like, the way I've been doing things isn't going to work anymore. If I want to preserve what I love, if I want to save what I want, save the things and people I love, I have to find a new way of doing things. And so her finally kind of like unearthing these memories of like all the lessons she learned under Sariamura. So I'm really loving that we're seeing like that part of her character development where she's starting to like unlock all these memories that she's repressed. So I really, really like those moments. Apart from that, like I said, I really do love the moment where shit hit the fan with Tuya being caught out, with Micah watching her and the warlord go to town on each other. I'm not at this point like super invested in the relationship. I think that's because we just don't know enough about Tuya, I think, which is why like doesn't really get me super invested in it. So I'm hoping with this arc, with stuff going down with her reunion with Micah, we'll find out like more about her role as the Baroness, like what drew her into it. I hope like as we find out more about that, that might endear it to me more. Uh, but like I said at the beginning, I'm basically like Marie Kondo at this point. Where I'm like, I like mess because I just want to see like the fallout from all of this. Because so it feels like Micah obviously set trap or a bait to get Tuya over to Ravenna so she could finally find out who the Baroness was. And I wonder if she kind of suspected, just based on like all the reports and stuff she was hearing, whether she kind of put two and two together and was like wondering if it was Tuya, or if this is kind of like a complete left field surprise. She's like, oh yeah, I had a hint, but it's still coming as a shock to me. So I'm really, really curious to see how that's going to play out. Like what exactly she was doing with the amulet and everything else. I suppose we'll get answers to that in the next little bit. But yeah, really, really enjoyed this. I hope you all did as well. Like I mentioned at the beginning, if you did, please do like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Like I said, it really does help me out a lot with the channel. It really does give me the motivation to keep going. Like I mentioned, Shonen Jump videos will be out today. So it'll be Akane Banashi, Kaiju, and Spy Family. There'll also be at least one Monstress video out today. I will try to get around to doing two. That will depend entirely on how bad the weather gets and how I feel. But like I said, a lot of content coming out, so look forward to that. And until next time, this is Ash. I will talk to you all later.